Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. Friends, I have something special for you. Actually, I have something special for me too. What do I mean? I'm going to be doing a walkthrough of these 3 decks. Now, don't get worried, I'm not doing all 3 of them together. So what am I doing? Well, friends, first, in part 1, you can tell by the thumbnail if this is part 1 or this is part 2. In part 1, I'm going to do a walkthrough of The Journey of the Sacred Bee and The Keeper of the Sacred Bee Tarots by the wonderful, brilliant Kelly Burton. And then in part 2, what I'm going to do is do a walkthrough of the Wisdom of the Sacred Bee Oracle deck. An oracle deck that is very matchy-matchy, I believe, with these 2 tarot decks. And then after I do a walkthrough of the oracle deck, we're going to put all 3 of the decks together in part 2 and do some sample readings to see if these 3 decks will line up, will work together as well as I really, really hope they will. Now, why am I trying to do so much and why am I so intensely focused on these 3 decks? Let me tell you. If you know me and you know this channel, that I've been doing a year of study in the continental tarot systems, yeah? And it's been wonderful. This year has helped me grow and expand as a reader more than I can tell you, particularly with the help of the brilliant Christine Payne-Tower, who created the Tarot of the Holy Light, which I've been using for the last year as my focal deck. But now, not next lunar cycle, but the lunar cycle after that, I decided I wanted to do a 1-year in-depth Thoth deep dive. So for a year, I'm going to focus primarily on Thoth decks, but I wanted to have a little bit of a transition from the continental tarot system into the Thoth system. And so I've chosen these decks because I've been told that this deck, The Journey of the Sacred Bee, I've had this for quite a while, but I haven't opened it yet because I've been waiting for all 3 decks to come into my possession, and I've been waiting for summer because these decks just seem like just no-brainer summer decks. But I'm told that this deck is Thoth-based, and I'm told that this deck is Smith-Waite based. I'm very, very comfortable with Smith-Waite decks and reading with Smith-Waite decks. I'm much less comfortable with Thoth decks. So these 2 together will help me ease my way into my Thoth deep dive year. And then this deck, because I'm sure it's going to match beautifully with all 3, just seems like a no-brainer. So what I'm going to do, again, part 1, we'll do a walkthrough of the 2 tarot decks. In part 2, we're going to look at the oracle deck and then put them all together and try doing some sample readings. Are you excited? I'm excited. Friends, here we go. Friends, you probably already know that this is part 2 of my walkthrough of the Sacred Bee trifecta. Now, part 1, I walked through the Journey of the Sacred Bee and the Keeper of the Sacred Bee tarot decks. And if you haven't seen that, I'll put cards up here so you can go over and watch part 1 where I walk through the tarot decks. In this one, I'm going to focus on the oracle, the Wisdom of the Sacred Bee Oracle, and then we'll do a little reading, or a few readings. We'll do some sample readings, I should say, of the 3 decks together. The Journey of the Sacred Bee, the Keeper of the Sacred Bee, and the Wisdom of the Sacred Bee Oracle. And I'm doing this because I'm getting ready for my deep dive into these decks. I'm going to switch into a whole new mode for my weekly readings come the new moon. And so I'm getting ready for that with these new decks. And then after that, I'm going to leap into a year of Thoth-based readings. So I'm easing my way into a Thoth study year. So that's what we're doing. And this is my second spread cloth that I got from the wonderful Kelly Burton. This, I believe, frankly, I don't remember which spread cloth came with which deck. I think this spread cloth came with the Wisdom of the Sacred Bee Oracle, but I may very well be wrong. So this is a spread cloth, and something I forgot to show you in the first video was this wonderful, wonderful bag that came with the Keeper of the Sacred Bee Tarot from the Kickstarter. Love this bag. Haven't used it yet because, as you know, I just opened the box for the first time. Well, you don't know it was yesterday, but it was yesterday. So I'm getting all my stuff ready for the new moon. And so we're diving into the Wisdom of the Sacred Bee Oracle today. Beautiful box. The boxes are all very similar. Yeah? Just in case you don't recall, the Keeper of the Sacred Bee box looks like that. The Journey of the Sacred Bee box looks like this. So they make a perfect set. I'm just so excited. Yeah, I'm excited. I don't use that word very often, but I am excited to be working with these three decks together. And I've been waiting for them to all arrive and then for summer to come to be able to dive into them. Because I really wanted to, and I think I mentioned this in the intro, work with these decks in summer. So this is my chance. And here we go. The Wisdom of the Sacred Bee Oracle. The box is purple with a sunflower instead of that greenish blue or bluish green for the box for the Journey of the Sacred Bee. Open this box up and we don't have a quote in this one. Instead we have the bees are nature's alchemists, using the wisdom of sacred geometry, which is the intelligence of the universe. They bring life and sweetness to the earth. Beautiful signature of the wonderful creator. Ribbon to pull out the whole kit and caboodle. Deck and guidebook. The guidebook for the Oracle deck looks like it's going to be very similar to the other guidebooks. Let's take a look inside the box. Hold the wisdom of the bees sacred. I entirely agree with that. And with reverence, this deck is dedicated to the tireless efforts of the tiny ones who perpetuate our food supply and keep our planet alive with beauty. Amen. Yes, yes, and yes. Beautiful box, beautiful deck. Back of the box looks very similar to the backs of the boxes of the two tarot decks. Fabulous. Moving on to the guidebook. The guidebook looks very similar. This is what the backs of the cards look like. Guidebook, we open up to, we get the table of contents looks like it's dividing the deck into elements. The element of fire, the element of water, the element of air, the element of earth, and then the element of ether. A 5-element system. Now, and then we start off with a couple of spreads, which are nice. A little bit about sacred geometry. There's a lot of sacred geometry in this deck and in the Journey of the Sacred Bee, which leans a little bit into the Thoth system, but not entirely. I mean, there are a couple of places where it diverges from that. 3 lineage cards, the 3 lineage cards in the deck. I see. So there are 3 lineage cards. What are they? There are 3 bonus cards in the deck called the lineage cards. Use them as you wish, but here are a few ideas. Use as significators. I don't really do that, but that's possible. If you want to choose a card that best represents the person asking the question. Shuffle them into the deck, and when they turn up in a reading, apply the role persona of that bee to the reading. That's probably what I would do. Use them as clarifiers, or what I call bridges in a reading, especially when you are dealing with people and personalities. Use them on your altar or your meditation, or in your meditation practice. Probably not going to do that specifically. If I used the deck for my meditation practice, I'd use the whole deck. So the first lineage card is the Queen. I won't read all of it, but the queen is the largest bee in the hive, of course. She can live up to 7 years and generally only leaves the hive once to mate. So in a reading, the queen represents maternal influence, a provider, head of household, or the leader of a large group. That makes sense. The next one is the worker. Okay, I get it. So then the next one would be the drone, and yeah, 3 classes of bees, right? The queen, the worker, which are all females, and then the drones, which are males. The workers, these sisters are non-reproductive females. And the information about the workers. In a reading, the worker card means bearing the burden of having the most responsibility, doing the work needed to see something through. Makes sense? The drones, they're the boys of the group. The fertile male bees are essential to the survival of the hive. Of course, in a reading, the drone card means singleness of purpose. Okay, specialized skill set, definitely specialized. They are the inseminators. An observer, explorer, or scout. Okay, they also do that too, right? Okay. So then after those 3, what are they called again? They're called the 3 lineage cards. We have bee wisdom, and then we go into the element of fire. So for each card, we've got a large image on one side, and then description of the card, and then, let's see, yes, and then significance. Wait a second, I may be wrong. So we have the large card here. Pictured, the jeweled bee breaks through a crystal portal, igniting. So here is the description of the card. Igniting the fire that becomes the inspiration for creativity. The crystal represents this solidified passions that will produce the flowers and plants to nourish all creatures on earth. Okay, so I like it when creators do that. They give you what you're seeing and then the reasons that those things were chosen. I love that. So here, the inspiration. That's the title of the card, the inspiration. Inspiration is the magical spark that gives rise to or desire to create. That gives rise to our desire to create. When there are connections made between ourselves and the universe, there is a spark of genius. Suddenly, we are propelled into an amazing space that can accomplish what we never imagined we could. When driven by inspiration, we can do new things with ease. Inspiration is the spark of fiery magic. Use this magic to set intentions, embark on a new mission, start a project, or complete the next move in your journey forward. Look for inspiration everywhere. Reach further, dig deeper. It's okay to take a little extra time to find inspiration. Put the phone down, close your eyes, and ask for the inspiration you need to help you move forward as a citizen of the earth and connected human being. So yeah, we've got in a reading, maybe some advice. That's very good. So we go through the fire, and then we go into water pretty quickly, I would guess. I wonder how many cards there are. Stagnation. This kind of looks like we might be in water already. Yes, we are in water. Where did the water begin? Fire, and then the element of water. What is the number of cards here? I don't recall. See if there's anything listed here about the number of cards in the deck. This is a 68 card oracle deck. This is going to be wonderful, absolutely wonderful. It doesn't feel like 68. So I didn't talk about cardstock last time. The cardstock for all of these decks is a little bit matte, but it's got some slip to it. It's not, it's got a little bit of friction, but it's also got a little bit of slip, which makes me think it is semi-matte. As far as size, all 3 decks are just a little bit bigger than a standard tarot card. So this is basically the size of a US Games tarot card. So the Keeper of the Sacred Bee, the Journey of the Sacred Bee, and the Wisdom of the Sacred Bee Oracle are all just a little bit wider and a little bit taller than a standard US Games card, which is fine for me. Now, if you've got small hands and standard US Games cards are a little difficult for you to handle, this deck might be a little bit chunky. There aren't borders on these cards, so cropping them down would not be an easy task, I don't think. Now, I showed you the backs already, but can you see the purple stamped bee there? Let me get up from my seated position so I can see what you can see and see if we can see the bee. Let's see, let me get this. Yeah, you can see those two bees, right? Yeah, you can see those bees. All glittery and shiny, beautiful, beautiful deck. And you can see that we've got purple gilding here. Yeah. Nicely done. The purple gilding here, we had aqua gilding for the Journey of the Sacred Bee. And we had, what color gilding was on the Keeper of the Sacred Bee? Also purple. Yes, yes, okay. Now, you know what? I have both the first and the second edition of the Journey of the Sacred Bee. The second edition is still all wrapped up in cellophane, and that might actually be a purple edged or purple gilded deck as well. I'm not sure about that. I've forgotten. It's been a long time. Okay, so you've seen the backs plenty. I love this sacred geometric form here. I love the texture of the purple on the back as well. Kelly Burton does wonderful work. And I've also said that I am usually not oh, look at the color. I'm not a collage person. I don't like collage decks for the most part. Now, you're probably going to say I'm insane for saying that because I've recently gotten a whole bunch of collage decks in. I got the Voyager Tarot in, I got the Ritual Tarot in, both very, very collage decks. I got a couple of others that are collage as well. So it's not a hard and fast rule for me, but generally, I shy away from collage decks with a passion. But this, look at this. How could you not love this deck? Look at this beautiful Queen card. The vibrant colors, just gorgeous. This is the drone, which we just talked about, yeah? Which is interesting. I think the worker bee was next in the guidebook, right? But this is the boy. Love the flowers there in the background. And this is the worker. Here's our worker girl, right? Our worker bee. Love the colors. Notice the lemniscate above her. Yep, no lemniscate above the worker or the queen. I'm sorry, above the drone or the queen. But there's a lemniscate above the worker. Love that. Interesting. Okay, so deck proper. Here we begin the fire suit with inspiration. Inspiration means seems really appropriate for the fire suit, right? We begin with inspiration, and remember the things cracking apart here. And then we have passion, another fiery idea, right? You feel the fire in this card. See the two bees, not in a stalemate, but in a passionate gaze, maybe. Yeah? Lovely. And we have optimism, a very optimistic card. Now the sunflower, a very, not a realistic, but a stylized sunflower there. You see the bee here? Let's see, I got my chopsticks from work. You see this bee here? Let me use them here. Lovely card. Yeah, a very leonine card to me, being a Leo sun myself. And here we have innovation. Yeah, making new stuff. Love that. Finding new paths, finding new ways of doing things. And ambition. Yeah, fire signs are all pretty ambitious, right? I wonder if the guidebook says who this is in the background. I hope it does. But we can see a bee up there. We see this beautiful, looks like a magnolia maybe, maybe not. But see, I'm not good with flowers. I really am not good with flowers. But I love this card. Innovation. I'm sorry, ambition. Ambition. Ooh, and sensuality with a pomegranate, of course. This bee's body looks like a crystal, doesn't it? That's interesting. I've never seen a bee look like that, and I love it. I love this. And protection. Yes, protectiveness of a fire suit. And bees, they protect each other, right? They protect the hive. And there's a nautilus in the background. I guess there's something protective about nautilus as well, although I think of water when I think of nautilus. And inner genius. Yes, the fire of from within. Inner genius. The pine cone. Fire opens up the pine cone for the seeds to germinate, right? So great for it to have a pine cone in a fire suit card. And co-creation. Yes, creativity of the fire suit and co-creative bees. Beautiful bee. We've got some very geometric indicators here of measurements of the spiral. And courage. Yes, a very fiery courage with this almost reminds me of La Boca de Verita in Rome, the mouth of truth. If you saw Roman Holiday, right? Very famous scene where I think was it Gregory Peck. He puts his hands inside of this mouth of the stone lion disc and then pretends that the lion had bitten it off, and Audrey Hepburn gets all startled and scared for a brief second. It's a very cute scene. Yeah, La Boca de Verita. Reminds me of that. I don't think it actually is that. And redemption. We're still in the fire suit, and it looks like we got a phoenix here. Redemption, rising from the ashes. A bee in the flames, too. Interesting. And you see the sacred seed right there in the center? I know a little bit of sacred geometry, just a little bit. And the snake in the fire with bee wisdom. Yes, snakes are symbols of wisdom, right? Especially from Judeo-Christian times, the snake as wisdom. And that's probably why the snake is also associated with the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, right? It's a little bit of a carryover, if you ask me. And fire constraints. So we do have some shadow cards here, right? Not too many, but here's some shadow. I wonder... No, the guidebook didn't mention reversals, did it? But here we have constraints in the fire. The bondage of our fire. And we move right into water. And the emotional. What was the first card of our fire suits? It was the inspiration, the emotional. How many fire cards were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 cards for each element, I'm probably going to assume. So this is the first water. Looking very watery, right? You see the shells here? An underwater bee. You don't see that very often. Intuition, definitely. Water, characteristic, right? See the bee in the eye? That's interesting. And harmony. Like temperance, with the liquid pouring between the two vessels. We got harmony. We got a bee here on a flower looking very harmonious in the water suit. You see geometry all through this deck, right? And then devotion. Yeah, two bees, like the Two of Cups a little bit, devoted to one another. I'm not sure what this is in the background. I'm hoping that the guidebook will tell us that. There's a flower-like structure in reds here. Do you see these nodules here in red? We've got this white cloud-looking heart, right? And then behind that, we've got these nodules inside of a geometric form. And then behind that, there's these dark streaks, right? Interesting. And reverence. Now, reverence would be a very emotional thing, right? An emotionally based attribute. The reverence of the bee for the flower, perhaps. Perhaps even the reverence of the flower for the bee. Now, the flower needs the bee. Oh, look at this. Okay, so that's a forest in the background. I wonder if these are supposed to be trees. I'll bet you these are supposed to be trees here. I'll betcha. Not sure, but I'll betcha. And stagnation. Okay, a negative card for the water. And like the hermit card in the Keeper of the Sacred Bee, this figure looks like a figure made out of honeycomb, but draped in the hood of a hermit. Does that make sense? If you go back and look at the walkthrough of the tarot decks, you'll see that card again, the Hermit card. And the subconscious, another watery thing. Now, for me, the subconscious is a very positive thing. What do you think of the subconscious? When you think of subconscious, do you think of scary stuff, or do you think of depth, or the place where we store our programming, the place where we store the information that helps us keep alive when we're not focusing on all of the functions of our bodies? That's all unconscious to me, subconscious. And in here we've got the octopus, a very, very intelligent creature. Yeah, looks like a moon up there at the top. And I guess these are little octopi down here at the bottom, maybe. With bees, octopi and bees. And overwhelmed. So there are, to me, a lot more negative cards in the emotional suit, in the water suit. Let me briefly go back to the fire suit, just to double check, because it really seemed like the fire suit was pretty dang positive. Inspiration, passion, optimism, innovation, ambition, sensuality, protection. Now, protection to me seems pretty positive. Inner genius, co-creation, courage, redemption, be wisdom, and then one, constraints. So the fire suit is very, very positive. We're getting more negative cards in the water suit. So overwhelm. Little bee down here, I wonder what's inside of this. I don't quite see what I'm looking at. I can see the flower of life around as a geometric pattern, but I'm not sure what this is. What is being overwhelmed? Indifference, a very negative card. Now, these two flowers, they don't care a hoot for each other. And those bees, you don't care for each other? Well, we don't care about you. Maybe. Interesting. And dreams. Okay, so dreams, for me, is a very positive card. What about you? What do you think? Oh, look at the jewel on this bee. And a moth up above. Yeah, okay, moths for dreams, that makes sense. Soul, dreams, I can see that. Looks a little bit like a Merkaba, but that's been kind of cut down. And melancholy, oh, that's a very sad looking figure there, right? Do you see that? Very sad looking figure. Bee, kind of melancholy colors, but some very vibrant orange yellows here on the side. So melancholy, if we take the hand away, we can probably see things that could inspire other emotions for us, right? Tranquility, another water card. And this is more positive. The little daisies down at the bottom, couple bees, butt-to-butt bees. And compassion, another very positive water card. So we've got a kind of Buddha-like image here at the back. We've got 4 bees in a circle of perhaps compassion. Maybe 2 worker bees and 2 drones, perhaps. I don't know. And here we go with air. And we start air off with possibilities, with a very human figure there. Imagining what could happen. Look at the radiating, looks almost like and aurora borealis are generally greenish, right? But there's this bluish purple light that's just emanating from the human figure. And mental clarity. That's a good thing always, right? Not sure what this figure is. We got pentagons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is that called when it's the three-dimensional pentagon? It's no, it's not a pentagram. It's I forget the name of this figure. If you know gaming dice, you probably know the name of this figure. I don't know gaming dice. So the name is gone from my brain right now. Insight is the next air card. And it kind of looks like the iris of an eye here, right? Which is a great image for insight, looking within, right? And the back of this bee also looks like it has an eye on it, doesn't it? Knowledge. Very airy attribute. This bee is holding up this this thing which is used to calculate positions of stars. And I don't know the name, and I should have looked it up between last night's video and tonight's video. I did not look it up, but basically we know what we're looking at, even though I don't know the name. If you know the name, let me know in the comments below. Knowledge. Unfolding. Okay. Look at that. The book is unfolding. Yeah, do you see the book down here? We got bees flying out of the book, carrying that knowledge of unfolding out into the universe. Ooh, negative air card, denial. A very, very dark looking rose, yeah? Like a rose of death even. That bee does not look... Now, okay, so probably this is a negative image of a color image turned into a negative, right? So that bee probably looks very, very healthy in the positive image, but here we've got a very negative image. And radiating lines coming out from behind that very dark looking rose. Oh, anguish. Oh, look at that poor flower. There's nothing for those bees to get from this. This flower's been eaten down, hasn't it? Anguish. And mindfulness. Okay, we're back to some positive stuff. That's good. Mindfulness. And we got the daisy that's gone to seed, and we're ready to blow our wishes out into the universe in mindfulness. And it looks like we've got a sacred flower here in the background as well, which is good because we got a flower here with seeds. Just like we got a flower here in geometry made up of a bunch of seeds all co-joined. Breakthrough. Now, what do you think? Does that breakthrough card look positive or negative to you? It looks, I think of this in a very positive light, but the image looks a little bit negative to me. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, this crystal looks like it was beautiful, but maybe it was a prism. Very interesting. Well, this bee is broken through. And the next one is connection. Oh, look at the art on this card. The poppy, the red in this orb, the interesting, very Thoth-looking green. When I think of this particular shade of green, I think of the Thoth deck by Lady Frida Harris. Beautiful card, though. Connection. And all of the connecting lines running throughout this card. It's just beautiful. And the next air card is Transcendence. Beautiful. So this bee apparently is having a transcendent experience with the flower. I wonder if this flower is a hallucinogenic flower for the bee. I don't know. But this bee is experiencing something. Something kind of universal. Decision. Oh, looks okay. So we've got a pendulum here, right? The bee is on a pendulum to make a decision. Do you use pendulums? I use pendulums from time to time to help me decide things like which deck do I want to use for a particular spread, which deck do I want to use for a reading when I've got like 3 or 4 that I just can't decide between. I'll pull out my pendulum. Do I want to buy a deck? Sometimes I'll use a pendulum for that. So decision. And evolve. Still air. A very evolutionary looking card. It kind of looks like a starseed card to me. Yeah. But this is an evolutionary card. Very interesting. And again, we've got the flower of life. Not the full one, but a good portion of it here, with all the little seeds all connected up. And here we are in the first earth card. Look at this jewel on the back of the bee. For the tangible. Makes sense? And peacock feathers. Marin with white wine, hot tubs, white wine, and peacock feathers. And, oh, what is that joke? Marin. Marin County in California. This is from the 1970s. With hot tubs, white wine, peacock feathers, and something. And I'm forgetting the punchline. Anyways, I think of Marin when I think of peacock feathers. I know that's weird. The next is manifestation. Now, didn't we have a manifestation card already? No, I guess we didn't. No, we didn't. Okay, so, but perfect for Earth. We've got the Sistine Chapel hands with Adam and the divine God manifesting. And the bee observing the whole thing. The next one is groundedness. Perfect for an earth suit. Now, this flower is grounded. These flowers are grounded. This bee connecting with the flower is grounded. The next one is ancestry. And look at the double helix of the DNA with the two bees. And we see, I suppose there must be a hive back there as well. But yeah, ancestry of the hive, I guess, is what I would expect to be seen here. Abundance. Now, bees are all about abundance, aren't they? At least they are to me. Look at this flower. Radiating light, radiating perhaps ultraviolet light. Bees attracted to the abundance of nectar, just lovely. The abundance of pollen, nurture. Perfect earth card, right? The bee is nurturing the flower as the flower is nourishing the bee. And there's splashes of honey with purple tips. I guess that's what I see. What do you see in these splashes here? That gold makes me think of honey, but that's because this is a deck about bees. Expansion. Very, very, universal, very cosmic looking card. I don't know the names of those plants, but very cosmic. The cosmic bee. I wonder if there's going to be a cosmic card in the spirit suit. Let's see. Architecture. Now, bees are also all about architecture, right? They do architecture. Lovely. Kind of reminding us of the three of coins from the card drawn by Pamela Coleman Smith. Discipline. Discipline, also a good earth attribute. Kind of like the Knight of Earth, right? The Knight of Pentacles. And we have scarcity. Okay, similar to the Five of Pentacles, right? Scarcity, lack, a little bit of negative earth. You see the key up here? I wonder why we've got a key up here. That's interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like we got 5. Oh, no, we've got discs down here. Okay, never mind. I went somewhere strange. Growth. Growth, 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 growth. Beautiful. And the next card is greed. A little bit of 4 of Pentacles, right? Are you noticing any reflections of tarot card meanings in this deck of oracle cards? Look at this creature here. And what is this creature sitting in back of? Are these books? I'm not sure. Little No, what, orc-like creature, maybe. Interesting. And values. Crystals on a bee. Values. Lovely. And the next card is the soul journey. Okay, so this is the last suit. This is the 5th of the soul. Let me just check how many cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yes, so each suit has 13 cards. The soul journey. See the bee up there? Okay, speaking of eyes, we see this thing that looks like an eye here with a pupil, a very red, luminescent pupil. And next is quintessence. Now the 5th element, quintessence. Spirit. Lovely. The bee wings on the human meditating with a human above their head. And the prism. Yeah, light, I imagine, would be part of this spirit suit. With the diamond here, reminding us maybe of the Diamond Sutra, maybe, I don't know. There's a geometric form here that I do not know, but it's there. Get it from the guidebook. Illumination. Yes, light, illumination. Looks kind of like this bee is the wick of the candle, doesn't it? And the bee is definitely illuminated. Definitely illuminated. I hope that bee is okay in there. The next is Ouroboros. Okay, so we've got a bee here. We've got the Ouroboros here. And that Ouroboros looks a little bit like a bee that's been attenuated, maybe. These look like bee wings. Looks like a bee head. But the body has really been attenuated to make an Ouroboros. Observer, yes. Spirit, it's all about the observer, right? And here we got, oh, look at this is the face of the bee. The 2 bee eyes, the little bee mouth, the back of the head and the back of the bee, the 2 antennae. Beautiful card. Absolutely beautiful card. And etheric body. Even bees have etheric bodies. Look at the psychedelic colors in this card. Gorgeous. What's that on the back of this bee? It's a disc. Can you see that? I hope you can see that. And I wonder if this is a zodiac chart around this circle here. I don't know. Okay, I can't see that clearly, and I need to move the card into a different space for me to see it clearly, which I'm going to do. Just a second. No, I don't see zodiacal information there. I don't think so. There are different words. But etheric body. Beautiful. Mandora. Look at that. With the 2 circles making a pescavice. Vesca Pisces. That's the word. Vesca Pisces. A pescavices. A Vesca Pisces. And plants here, little bees, there. A Mandora. Dorla. Mandorla. Enigmatic. Spirit is definitely enigmatic. Got a moon here with all the bees, big bees, little bees, every kind of bees. And Taurus. Ah, yes, the Taurus. Not Taurus like the sign, the bull, which is right after Aries, but Taurus like the shape. I can see it here, but you'd only see a very little bit of a Taurus. Yeah? A Taurus is like what the magnetic field around the Earth looks like without the influence of solar radiation blasting one side of the Earth, which attenuates the other side of the magnetic field away from the sun. Yeah, so it kind of knocks the toroidal shape out of kilter, but a magnetic field generally looks like a torus, kind of like a donut that's been stretched out a little bit. Notice the bees here. Gorgeous card. The whole deck is just beautiful, isn't it? Deity, the bee god. Lovely. And the next card is manna, like manna from heaven. Yeah, the food of the divine. Like from the Old Testament and Moses and manna from heaven. Feeding the tribe of Israel here, feeding the tribe of bees. Ascension. Beautiful, beautiful card. The two intersecting pyramids, lovely. With wings, magnificent. And that's the last card. So, ladies, gentlemen, friends, one and all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle this deck so you can see how these decks shuffle. Now, they're only 64, 64, that's a lot of cards for a good Oracle deck. But yeah, it shuffles very similar to the two Tarot decks that we looked at in the previous video. Show you how it riffle shuffles. Look at this. So it's a little bit stiff because they're right out of the box and they're gilded, but they riffle shuffle nicely. They bridge okay already. I know with, oh yes, they bridge fine. Let me give you one more look at that. So let me give you a side shot of the riffle so you can see. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? And then bridging. The sound, it's all there. And both of the Tarot decks shuffle equally beautifully. So, let me give you a couple more shuffles and see what we can see as a combined reading with the two Tarot decks. See how well the cards look together. See if we can get a couple of readings going here. Okay, so let me get a couple of more. I'm not going to do a full shuffle because I also want to give a couple of riffles to the Tarot decks. Give you two more riffles here. Whoops. Okay, the deck knows that I'm rushing. One more riffle. I get the feeling that this gilding is going to be easy to chip. I get the feeling that that might be the case, but that's okay. So far, so good. Okay, one more overhand shuffle for this, and then I'll pull out the two Tarot decks, and we'll lay them side by side. Okay, so I'll put the Oracle deck in the center. Let me cut. So this is how we're going to read this deck. And on the left, I'll put the Journey of the Sacred Bee, which I've already shuffled a few times last night, but let me get just a quick little shuffle. You can see there. Let me just show you. Yeah, same size cards. Now, I'm not a very good overhand shuffler, but this works beautifully for me. And one more, just one riffle for this deck. And like I said, it shuffles like a dream. I will cut the deck and put the deck right next to her. Okay, can you see the bees? I love the way that these decks are going to look together already. I haven't even read them together yet, but I can already tell. I can feel it in my bones. Okay, so this is the Keeper of the Sacred Bee, and let me show you how it overhands just briefly. Like I said, I shuffled the Tarot decks a little bit last night. So this is just to give it a little bit of a fresher upper so that they know what we're going to do. Let me give one. See that purple? Oh, look at that. Okay, so one riffle. I'll put it down here. bridge. Oh, it's just wonderful. This cardstock is phenomenal. And the gilding doesn't really hurt my fingers very much at all. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do some readings. Can you see? It's easy to see the bees here. And probably easier to see the bees here than here, but let me see what you can see. Yeah, let me just tilt this card a little bit so oh, look at those bees. Ah, and see how well these cards look together, how well these decks look together, just the backs even. They're different, they're all different, but there's a cohesiveness. And actually, the Keeper of the Sacred Bee looks the most different from these two. But I think the images are going to be brilliant. So what do we have here? Oh, we start off with the 5 of coins, 5 of discs, I should say, with worry, tranquility, and the world. Now, let's just look at art. Yeah, the art is all different. And frankly, okay, so if I were to pick two decks only to work together, I would say these 2 decks look the most similar. But still, there's a cohesive tone to all 3 of them. Yeah, worry. What do we get here? So we got the 5 of coins with worry here, Mercury in Taurus. Yeah, Mercury is quick, right? The messenger, but the earth sign is weighing Mercury down. So there are worries here. On the other side, we've got the world, we've got completion. So to move, we could say that to move from a current state of worry to a sense of completion and readiness to move on to the next stage of our journey, to move past what we're feeling now, we want to reach for tranquility. And let's see what the guidebook says for tranquility for the Oracle deck. Let's see, this is a water card, and it's not transcendence, it's not anguish, it's not knowledge. There we go, tranquility. What does the book say about tranquility? Well, the image is a bee remains centered and in power through the dichotomy of grounding downwards and expanding upwards. Oh, that's cool, right? So worry is a very draining, grounding kind of feeling, and the world is an uplifting kind of thing. So this center gives us that the dichotomy of both the grounding and the uplifting. A musical frequency circles in waves around the bee, and bright chamomile flowers serve as a reminder to remain calm. So that's the beginning of the advice for that card, just in the description. Yeah, these chamomile flowers reminding us, yeah, there's worry, but stay calm. Yeah, tranquility is a peaceful state of mind and serves as a reprieve from the high stress of a fast-paced environment. It can also be a welcoming position to be in after a challenging phase, such as illness or depression or worry. Staying grounded and quieting the monkey mind is a way to find tranquility amidst madness of everyday chaos. Find a calming place to put on some headphones and then there's some advice. But that makes a really good reading, doesn't it? And we see the bee here going in perhaps to a sacred space, a space to find calm, to find quiet. And there we find the tranquility, and as we find the tranquility, we reach our completion and the fullness of self. So let's move on to another set of cards here. What do we get here? So here, the Magician. I like that. That's a good start. The Magician and knowledge, yeah, which is cool because Mercury, as the Magician, is all about knowledge, right? Mercury is the eternal student of Jupiter. Also the messenger, but also a student. Knowledge, and then the sun. So there you go. So we embody our inner magicians, our ability to create and to learn being in these bodies in this physical universe, and we get the knowledge that we want that benefits us as we do this. And through that knowledge, we can reach our success and our happiness and our time in the sun and our optimism even, right? Now these decks are going to read together phenomenally. Let me give you one more of the three together. You want one more, don't you? Okay, so we're going back to the dark with a vulture in disappointment. Mars in Scorpio. Mental clarity. Brings us to the Five of Wands. Okay, so this is interesting. So we got a little bit of a, I'm glad, we got a little bit of a challenging read here. We start with disappointment, and we see that kind of like a Rider-Waite-Smith card, we got the three cups. Two cups have been knocked over, one's been overturned, but there are two cups still standing, right? But we got a lot of fire red here for Mars in Scorpio. And yet, the next card is mental clarity. So from our mental clarity, from our disappointment, we want to try to move into mental clarity. That makes sense. Now from this water, we want to shift into our airness, our mind, and find our clarity. Find that spot in the center, which would leave us to the Five of Wands, which could be competitive, but it could also be playful. I'm curious to see what the guidebook for this card is, because when I see this card, I don't get competition so much. So let me check what the book says about the Five of Wands for the keeper of the sacred bee. Let's see, the Suit of Cups, the Wands, Knight of Wands, Queen of Wands, Eight of Wands, Five of Wands. Okay, so the challenges that the bees and their keepers face are showing up. So there are challenges. By paying attention to minor glitches, repairs will be small and manageable, repairs will be small and manageable tasks. So meaning minor interferences to deal with, participating in a group challenge, some back and forth banter or a little competition comes around. So we don't have that really dark, heavy meaning that a lot of people see in the Five of Wands from a Rider-Waite-Smith, a Smith-Waite deck, which is interesting. So from here we started off in disappointment, emotional. Okay, I'm not moving past disappointment. Disappointment to mental clarity, which gives us the realization that maybe what we saw as being so dramatic, so painful, so fiery and hot, was actually just a series of little things that needed to be fixed, which we realized after we attain our mental clarity. Does that make sense? If it does, let me know in the comments below. If it does not, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. Do you agree that these decks are going to read together beautifully? I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to use the decks yet. I'm not going to do 3-card spreads for a weekly read. And I'm not going to do a Celtic Cross for the weekly read either. I haven't quite landed on what kind of spread I'm going to use for these for the next lunar cycle. I'll figure that out in the next couple of weeks. If you've got any ideas for what kind of spread I might want to try, or what kind of spread you'd like to see me try with these 3 decks together, let me know in the comments below. So friends, thank you for being here. If you are still here, hit that thumbs up button so YouTube knows that you got something out of this and other people will be shown the video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit the alarm bell so you know when I upload videos. I've been trying to do 3 a week, but I'm not sure if I can keep that up. We'll see. This summer is going to be a little bit kooky. And if you want a private, but still, I have time to do for private readings. If you want a private reading from me, my email address is below. thehangedmaninthemoon@gmail.com. Shoot me an email. We'll get you a reading. If you want, maybe we'll do a reading with these decks. Let me know. And if you want these decks, I'll put Kelly Burton's information in the description box below. Okay? They'll be in the description box for both of these videos, part 1 and part 2. So friends, thank you very much for coming on this journey with me. Thank you for exploring these decks with me. I hope you find these decks as gorgeous, beautiful, illuminating, and artistic as I do. So now, as I leave you, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.